How's it going?
Good. I am so sorry, Joseph.
No problem at all. I'm just glad that you were able to fit us into your, I'm sure, busy, very busy schedule. The overall intention of our conversation, one, is to thank you for being one of our newest partners and clients. And just to build empathy, I think we have the most awesome clients. Sort of like the backbone of the American economy. And what inspired Vitable is actually my mom runs a small business senior care agency in Philadelphia, where I grew up working with her, and we sort of built Vitable to help her take care of her employees, and so it's such a treat when I get to speak with our clients, because I get to get a glimpse into at least what I think is uh, uh, watch as they do God's work and take care of communities that we all sort of love and depend on. So, but to start with, just love to hear your story and how you came to work with Eternal Optimist Hospitality, which is such a cool name.
I know, it really is. So I actually am originally from Pennsylvania. I went to school. I lived in a small town in Pennsylvania up near the New York border, but I went to school in Scranton. So went to Philadelphia a couple times, but I lived there for a little while. And I've had 25 years, mainly with larger companies in HR and operations leadership. And in 22, decided it was time to start my own company. So kind of like your mom going out into, that world is very, very different when you're trying to figure that out. And so I've had my own HR consulting company for about 3 years. I was referred to EO. It's probably been it'll be a year and a half here pretty soon that I've been working with them. And they do have multiple restaurants in the area. And I was referred to them by their CPA. They are an amazing group of individuals that have been able to, create fine dining as well as themed restaurants. So for example, one of the restaurants that we're implementing Vitable in is Royal's Hot Chicken. And then there's Feast Barbecue. So they have some amazing themes, amazing people. So that's how I got connected with them.
That's amazing. And you mentioned Scranton. Our head of revenue, Brendan, actually went to school in Scranton. And are you a fan of The Office? I'm sure you get this
I do. I get it all the time. Well, and I tell everybody that was before I graduated in 96. I went to Marywood. So I graduated, I think it was 95 or 96. It's crazy how I can't remember that. But so it was before The Office. But yes, I hear that all the time.
Hopefully it's not one too many today. I'm curious. It sounds like, for the last 3 years, you've sort of, you went out to start your own sort of HR consulting business, and you work with, small businesses, it seems, or just like local businesses like Eternal Optimist Hospital. I just love the name. But I guess like when what type of clients just holistically do you typically work with? Are there some that you're like a great fit for? Just curious to build a bit of empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we typically work best with small to mid-sized companies. And typically it's ones that are growing or that do not necessarily need an on-site HR. So we've had clients from 10 employees up to 150. Really, the 30 to 70 mark is probably the best for us. I do enjoy working with independently owned small businesses. I just feel like we can make a better impact there. But typically CEOs and business owners will reach out to us for one of three reasons. The first one being they have good business goals, but they don't have the people goals and don't know how to put the people goals in place to be able to execute on the business goals. So we come in and we're able to offer them a VP level strategy that helps them set their people goals up and then set the structure up. Without having to hire a VP. And then the second reason they come to us is because they don't have an HR, or they have an HR that's like a payroll specialist, but they're over capacity and they need support. So we come in and we either are the HR for the client, or we help support projects like implementing performance management, things like that. And then the third thing they reach out to us for that I absolutely love, it's my favorite, is the leadership coaching and development. So we have a proprietary process that we use. It's a 12-month, mainly for frontline and middle managers. That's my favorite levels. Like I can coach CEOs and I enjoy that, but there's nothing like being able to work with that frontline and middle manager that really wants to learn how to be the best leader they can be. So we also work with that. So we're kind of a full service HR consulting company and fractional HR.
That seems like quite a lot of things to juggle, yeah. But knowing my parents are about, they're now at about 200 employees. And wow. I know the biggest challenge that my mom has had has just been figuring out everything around HR, and at every, extra number of employees, things break, and she had to sort of navigate through them. And, she's tried a bunch of times to find help, but finding someone that is very high quality is actually quite difficult, and but also quite valuable as you're describing the help that you provide your clients. And with Eternal Optimist, how did you initially? So it sounds like CPA introduced you to them. When you initially started working with them, what was this initial scope that you? What was the initial maybe challenges that you were working through? And then how did you come to find out about Vitable?
Yeah, so when I first started with them, and typically with clients of their size, I'll do a full audit, which includes reviewing the structures that they have, the systems that they use, focus groups, talking to various leaders. And then I put together a roadmap of how we can support them, help them, make them more efficient, and then the roadmap to make that happen. So one of the big things that we focus on is benefits for employees. And typically what I've seen, and it was true with Eternal Optimist, they had a benefits broker that had just kind of become comfortable, had worked with them for years, and wasn't necessarily working for them, but was working more for the Anthems or the UHCs or whoever of the world. So the first thing we did was find a broker that we knew would commit with them, and that was part of our process, and that I knew would challenge price increases. So we were able to do that. We were able to offer a lot more ancillary benefits by partnering with different groups to give employees a better, well-rounded benefits package. So benefits is always a huge part of the roadmap with clients, just because it's so important. And I try to keep a really good list of people in my toolkit to be able to figure out who's the best person that I could bring in and I trust to bring in with my client. So Vitable, the CEO actually found it, so I can't take credit for finding. They have 2 restaurants that unionized, and we were in the middle of a contract negotiations, and the union was very interested in multiple things in the contract. And I don't know how familiar you are with union negotiations, but there's a balance, right? There's only so much money to go around. So if you want this high cost benefit, then you're probably not going to be able to get as much compensation increase. So what we found was this option, especially telehealth, that was interesting. The union leader that was negotiating from the national actually talked about how he loves telehealth benefits for his union members, which I thought was, a great way to look at it, because old school prior union leadership would want one of the very standard traditional packages. So they've seen the value in it. So we ended up presenting it to the employees, and that's how we ended up going with it.
Wow. And so it seems like the CEO is quite entrepreneurial, and heard about Vitable, and they were going through this unique sort of negotiation with the union for the two restaurants, and there's a somewhat affinity to virtual care benefits that is sort of like perfect perfect timing and openness that enabled them to get to a win-win outcome.
Yes, absolutely. And it really was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And how was it a win-win? Just curious to get a bit more context.
It was mid-July, something, maybe we were on July 20th, and we wanted to go into effect on 8/1. So Jeremy, I think, was our rep.
Yeah.
He jumped through hoops for us. I think I talked to him on a Friday. He figured out how to help us make it happen. And I have to tell you, I was extremely nervous because I had not even talked to anybody at Vitable, just the CEO had. And I was not expecting the contract to get signed so quickly. So when it did, Jeremy was amazing at getting us turned around in, one day, getting us set up in the system. So I was extremely impressed, and I've worked with benefits groups for years. I was extremely impressed with the service, the professionalism, the turnaround. Kara's our support now. All of the structure that you already have in place, the emails that I would get with here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's the flyers, here's a sample email to send to employees. There were a million things going on, as you can imagine, with trying to get a contract launched, and we had other restaurants doing annual enrollment, that this Vitable was the one that was, knock on wood, so smooth. I didn't have to think about it for a second. They told me before I even thought I needed to know. So I'm very impressed, very impressed.
Well, one of our values that Jeremy exemplifies is that we make things happen for our clients, because you have a million and one things that are happening. Like in my mom's case, like a typical day might involve someone going to the ER, or God forbid someone dying, and like the real things that are just happening. And benefits are important, but it's one thing that we could do to soften the load. And so anything that we could do, even as you continue to go through the experience, we'd be eager to do so, because it's a small part that we play in at least making your life somewhat easier. Curious, you mentioned choosing other benefits. You did this search to find a broker that was aligned with you and looking to serve the client as opposed to serve the traditional health insurance companies. And then it sounds like you also selected a different mix of benefits package, including sort of like supplemental benefits or voluntary benefits. Curious to get a glimpse of who did you select as a broker and why, and then what were the things that other benefits that you added to the mix for this year?
Yeah, so we have, and again, this is a separate restaurant that is a union free, so it's not part of the union. So we stuck with traditional benefits there. And we went with a company called USI. They are a national, I'm sure you've heard of them. And So we went with USI, who I've worked with other clients. I really like having the broker on speed dial on my cell phone and their cell phone. So if there is an issue, we can get it taken care of. So we went with USI. We went with, are you familiar with chamber plans?
Like the local Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So in Kentucky, they have a unique chamber plan that employers, small businesses under 50 employees can actually be a part of the chamber plan. So it's still traditional, but you can get better rates because you're among all the other members of the chamber. So we actually we switched from UHC to Anthem, and we were able to offer 3 different plans. One with an HSA, and then we had prior ancillary benefits. We had MetLife, we had Guardian, we had McGregor. So we had multiple things that we administered, and part of the roadmap that we've built is really trying to set Eternal Optimist up to be more efficient. So we have connected in ADP the brokers that were not there before, and we've now streamlined it. So we are with Colonial for ancillary, it's Colonial Unum, and Anthem for the medical, dental, and vision.
And I'm imagining that's quite a lot of vendors to manage, and one, to be so thoughtful about who was best in class. How do you manage through all of those vendors, or is that the part of how you selected the broker?
That's USI. Yes, I allow them to manage it all. Now, I have on occasion said to them, in fact, I would love to give you an introduction with our local agent because I do think there could be some opportunity there. Colonial, I am actually, I have a relationship, strategic partnership with a Colonial rep. So I actually went to USI and said, I'd really want you guys to work with Colonial, with this rep, to be able to bring them into the client. So they manage it, but I maintain the flexibility to say, this is somebody I know is going to provide great service. So I prefer that you go with this person. And they'll figure out how to bring them in, but then they're my main contact for the whole enrollment and benefits.
That's amazing. And I guess I'm curious, we're always aspiring to do more to serve our clients and partners. What could we do to make your life even easier and help you deliver more value to your clients like EO?
Yeah, I don't know that I have an answer for that yet, just because it's so new.
So fresh, right.
And like I said, I've been impressed between even the system. I haven't had to get in there yet to connect it. We need to connect the system, but it looks like it's really easy. And some of that's our issue, not your issue. We're combining ADP platforms right now, so we've held off on manually doing it. But honestly, I really can't think of anything that would have made it easier right now.
Or Jeremy, really anyone is here to serve you, and we cherish any opportunity to make things happen for our clients and partners.
Yeah, well, and I could tell that you just taken the time today to learn more and understand more and hear from me. I appreciate that and respect that. So I will absolutely do the same. I will keep you in mind too as I go forward. And I really do like what Vitable offers. It's a really good program, especially for the smaller companies.
Thank you so much. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.